dear guests, everybody who is gathered here today, dear friends, readers, family, friends and family of our author, team members, Kunzum family, everybody, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you to this most awaited book launch event hosted by Hostel Leads, Kunzum, the publishers, NuVoice Press, and we all together as a single family. My name is Nagma, and I'll be your host for the day. But more than me, you will need to be listening to the author and our chief guest here today. Well, before we dive into the magical world of literature, let me take a moment to introduce our chief guest. We are honored to have with us a celebrated author and a dynamic individual who has graced the literary world with his exceptional words. Our chief guest for the evening is none other than the prolific author, Mr. Kevin Missal. With his 15 best-selling novels and a passion for Indian mythology, history, and philosophy, Mr. Missal has left an remarkable impression in the literary landscape. Let's give him a warm round of applause, everybody. And Kevin, welcome to this evening. It should be very awkward if I were to introduce the main star of the show, star of the day, right? So let me take this opportunity right now to introduce the talented author who's turning into a superstar with her book, The Wandering Star. We've gathered here to celebrate tonight S.P. Mittson, a 31-year-old embarrassed storyteller who has ventured into the world of fantasy with her debut novel, The Wandering Star. This is the first book among her series, the Shifter's France series. Her engaging narratives, the intricate world building, and promising a great future in the world of literature. Welcome to you, dear S.P. Mittson. We call you by multiple names, but today we want to be introducing and addressing you as the pen name that you've given to yourself, S.P. Mittson. Welcome to the gathering.
Thank you.
Before we deep dive into every details of the book, before each of you who are gathered here today purchase a copy of the book that is available, and before you get the chance to ask our author and the chief guest a lot of questions, yes, you are having a chance to ask a lot of questions. Before you do all of that, we will engage, or today we will get engaged to an amazing, interesting conversation between our chief guest and the author. So I will hand over the entire stage to our chief guest and the author for a quick discussion regarding the book, post which you will have the time to ask your own questions as well to both the chief guest and the author.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for first of all being here. I'm not here as a writer. I'm not here just as an author as well. I'm here as a publisher of S.P. Mittson's book, and I'm very glad to be here. Very, very proud. I've known her for I think quite some time now, almost a year, I guess.
More than
More than a year. More than a year. So, I've seen her writing journey, and I still remember the first time I called her. And I told her, what are you doing? Yeah, she's like, no, I'm done with, I don't want to publish my book. I remember that day. I don't want to publish my book. I'm done with the entire publishing process, all nonsense. I'm fine. I'm writing my second book. Once I'll finish all of them, then I'll think. I said, go out, get the book out. It's fine. Just pursue it. And I think that's what one author should do to the other author. And she listened, which is the most important factor of every author's life. So thank you so much for listening, first of all.
I'm a good listener.
Yeah, well, you're a good listener. Okay, that's great. Prateek, do you agree to that? So, but absolutely, yeah. But so let's start with the question, and whoever has anything to say, just raise your hands. We would love to have as interactive session as it could be. Though, please raise your hands if you have any questions. Absolutely.
So, Shivani, you are a dancer, painter, creative writer, an influencer, and a mother rolled into one. What inspired you to turn into a writer?
Writing was always a process of healing for me. I used to write whenever I'm in a chaos and there's a storm going on inside me. I always wanted it to be, and I don't want, sometimes there are things you don't want to share with other people. So I just used to jot it down, sometimes in the form of poems or sometimes in the form of stories. And to be very frank, these are my friends who boost me up, who used to read all those things. It's like, you can write it down. You will write and we will read. Well, that was the thing that made me a writer.
So you say it began with scribbles,
Yes.
but your writings reflect you living in your world of fantasy. How did you come about?
Fantasy, see, we live in the world of Panchtantra. Since starting, when you're brought up, you have been told all the stories about Panchtantra, Vedas, Upvedas. So what do you feel like is, see, there's a story about the Big Bang Theory again. In our Vedas, the story is like ki, the gods, it was all darkness and the water was hidden inside. Four gods came and they started dancing in the sea, and the whirlwind they created, the dust of whirlwind they created, and that what became a sun. That's in the Vedas, and how that's how the when sun is being brought up, and then how earth is created, heaven is created. So it's all fantasy. That's what I feel like. So we have been brought up telling these stories. So obviously fantasy is always there.
The adventures of Heloise and the Wandering Star seems to be far from the life of finance head, which is basically your profession. How do you manage? How did you actually manage the two extremes?
It's not that difficult because see, your hobbies and your professional work is always different. Well, you're doing some scientific work, and then you're going and playing badminton. It's like it's a hobby to me. Writing is a hobby, it's my passion. And the working space is something very different.
Can you take us through the journey of your experience of writing the book?
Of writing my book. See, it was a corona period. I just remember it was a corona period. I was in a I just had a baby, and I was stuck with a small baby in a room because it was corona, so I was not allowed to get outside. And after a period of time, I wanted to do something. I wanted to express myself. Again, I told you, like, there's a storm going on inside. You have to just expel it. So I started writing again. That's how I started writing this time.
Where do you seek to take the book from here?
Oh, it's like shooting for the stars. You're on the ground, and yeah, we are shooting for the stars, aiming for the stars, like that.
Did you read your story to your child as well? What did your child feel about it?
I can't read my book to my child because it's 16 plus. The age limit is there, but obviously, when he'll come to an age, I will obviously want him to read my story.
What is your next journey going to look like? What can we expect from you next?
I am working on the next part of this book. This is going to be a sequel, and let's see. I have written the climax, and I'm now. This is the part of thing. This I always write climax first, then I put whole story. That's the thing with me.
Okay, tell us this. Why is reading important, and how do fantasy stories help in this journey?
See, fantasy is always an escape. What I feel like is fantasy world gives you infinity. There is no limit, there is no bars, there are no boundaries, and you can create anything, you can feel anything. But the authors have no limits when they come to creating a fantasy thing. That's what I love about fantasy. That's the thing.
Tell us who's your favorite author.
My favorite author right now is obviously Saraji Mas, because she's the one who again engrossed me into reading her book, The A Court of Thorns and Roses, the Qatar. That's the first book I picked up again when I started reading, and it literally engrossed me. And I gobbled up a first, second, third, fourth book like in the series. That's why currently she's my favorite author.